Hi, this is Kirby. It is March 21st, 2025. It is Friday morning. It is still dark in New York City. And this is basically an update because I think I mentioned in my last upload, which was part 5 of my Whacking the Hackmans series, that I have been having issues just getting onto my YouTube account, which I have had for well over a decade and have only really begun to use it just within the last couple of years. And while I have about 300 podcasts on this channel, I've never had an issue logging in or the kinds of issues that I have been experiencing to the extent. I mean, I have had certain issues, clearly, because of the subject matter that I study and that I delve into, and which I write about, which I speak about, which I analyze, because I am not the sort of channel that reads a daily news uh what's provided by mainstream media. I think you guys have realized that what I do is I analyze information that is presented and I do my own analysis. I look at things, I study things, I look at them from a different point of view. Apparently, the point of view that I expressed with regard to my suspicion that in fact Jean Hackman may have, in a blind rage fueled by Alzheimer's, given the fact that he was already, as I stated in part 5 of this series, he had a long history of violence in his life. And as people develop Alzheimer's, they get even more, let's say, inclined into going into fits of rage. And I explained to you that I had a family member. I said it perhaps on 2 of these podcasts of my series. However, I am receiving so much pushback that I may have to continue this information, which, by the way, I have discovered more things that clearly no one else is discussing. But I want to discuss with you COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO is said to have been a previous part of what the government did to its citizens and to people who brought certain things to the public's attention that were, let's say, not in the best interest of the government at large and or the various intelligence agencies. And it is claimed that the projects were only conducted between 1956 and 1971, and that these programs were aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting political organizations or groups they thought were subversive. So let's say, such as the Black Panther Party. And I think I have shared on these some of my platforms that, of course, among the people that was targeted by Martin Luther King Jr. Was this COINTELPRO program where, let's say, the FBI, under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, who, by the way, we know was connected to other things, as in PDF files, well, what they would do is send letters, let's say, to his wife, making false allegations and not signing them, and basically attempting to destroy his reputation and his character. Well, to present day, this is now changed, and what happens is uh, there's a bunch, like my abuser, for example, had he had many companies clearly, but among the companies he had was one which was sort of like a call center, which was used to defend the reputation of people who were either PDFs or who were charged of the R word, all of that stuff. He had this kind of company, and what these like hundreds of people in these call centers, which by the way, all of the three-letter agencies have these as well, is that they produce fake accounts on various platforms like YouTube, Twitter, now called X, Facebook, so on and so forth, and they become part of the conversation. Now, initially, they come in there. What they do is they attempt to either sound friendly, become like befriend someone. Like I know I spotted a lot of those befriending Virginia when I was sort of back in the day after I became involved in July of 2019. Some of these got friendly with me. And, I learned my lesson, which is why I don't take DMs and why it's so very difficult to reach me. Um, and however, this happens. And so, or they come in and they say something which is completely contradicts the message that a person is trying to put across to the public, and or they add something to kind of like uh muddy the waters. You have heard that terminology before, muddy the waters. So I think that I may have stumbled upon the truth, like literally just stumbled upon it. And I have done that in the past. I have stumbled upon the truth because I look at things from the eyes of someone who has spent a number of years trapped in that world, that we are peeling the layers off in order to take a clearer view of what's going on in our lives, because everything that goes on affects us all. We don't have to be um, involved in politics or a certain thing, but these things that sort of, like, let's say, for example, even somebody as like Jean Hackman, who is very well liked by the public, who has made a lot of money for his, I'm going to call them handlers, because Hollywood does have handlers, as we learned through, let's say, someone like Kanye West. There are handlers. And so everything does interconnect. Now, I may have stumbled upon the truth by claiming on this platform, I believe it was in part 4, that it is my opinion, and I said it was an opinion, that Gene may have had a meltdown and tragically unalived his wife, Betsy Arakawa. I may be wrong. However, the pushback that I am receiving and the trouble that I am experiencing just trying to get onto my YouTube channel, which I've never had before, makes me suspect that I am. In fact, I might even be right about this. Now, I've also had to like log in, log in, log in. It has taken an enormous amount of time. It's very it's upsetting because I have a lot of work to do and I have to go through a lot of different steps in order to just look at my comments, the comments that you're leaving, and frankly, the comments that these COINTELPRO type accounts are leaving, in order to determine, well, what am I going to let stand on my platform? Because I do not stand for uh, really obvious trolling, which is what the COINTELPRO, let's say, accounts will leave. I don't stand for that. So those I immediately block. However, again, remember there are very large spaces with hundreds of desks, with hundreds of employees, not just by somebody like my own abuser, but by the intel agencies and people who are concerned about the reputation of, let's say, a Hollywood actor like Gene Hackman. And he's got, other friends who are very well known. And, I guess I could leave some of that unsaid. Um, and so that for my safety and for my peace of mind, and for you to get my research, as opposed to, let's say, oh, well, this channel said that, or that channel said that. And really what I'm listening to when I listen to that channel or that is incomplete truths. Now, it just could be that the person hasn't done enough research. It just could be that they're just reading a mainstream media account, which is not, you know, I don't trust mainstream. So what? And most of you who are here, you don't trust mainstream. That's why we're here. So that going forward, part 6, part 7, part 8, however many parts I decide to delve into, it's going to be written on my Substack. And I monitor that too. I mean, I have had so many people connected to the JE situation become members and the scientists and people from Stanford, you know, and from all of the universities that he was attached to, and even people going forward connected to Jack Parsons. I mean, the people that are members of my Substack, sometimes I will let them continue to be members just because I want to see. I actually have the ability, thank goodness, to my platform on Substack to see who is reading what. If I decide I want to see a certain person because that person, I either recognize the name or there's an unusual comment. Well, I have the ability to, and if I find that that person is in fact doing what some of the accounts that have flocked to my platform here on YouTube to hear what I'm saying and to perhaps muddy the waters, then I just block that account. I don't really care about the revenue. I'm not here to make it rich. There are many ways to make it rich. Having a podcast, writing a newsletter, even writing books, I'm not going to get rich because clearly my voice is the voice of, like, of the pieces they would silent I have been suppressed for decades. So clearly I'm not going to become rich. That's not the goal here. The goal is to share with you, to the best of my ability, based on my experience, truth, because truth is the only way that we can move forward and understand our future. And that is the goal. So I just wanted to let you know, give you a heads up that, yeah, there's going to be more information that I'm going to share on the unaliving of the Hackmans, but that's going to be on my Substack. I will continue to upload other information on this channel, but whatever I shared in part 4 has hit a nerve. I am feeling the pushback, and it's going to be on Substack. And that's like, it's something that I 100% have to do. I want to thank those of you who have left really interesting comments, because I do try to read everything. I cannot respond to everything clearly because, I've got various platforms, but I don't think we can let this rest. And, again, we see that, you know, there's a lot that is left unsaid And again, whenever I have like I've a, I've had to basically learn to nurture, and I think we all have the ability to have like a specific gut instinct about something. And I usually urge people close to me to really stay tuned, tune into your gut instinct because your gut instinct is usually right. Children have this, animals have this, children lose that ability at a certain point. I have learned to trust my gut instinct, and my gut instinct tells me that if I continue to bring you information about Jean Hackman and the other things that maybe I share on Patreon and specifically on, where I feel a little safer on Substack, then something a dreadful might happen to me. And clearly, I don't want anything dreadful to happen to me. All right, that said, please like the podcast. It helps the algorithm. It might help this platform from uh, doing things to me right now that are, somewhat disconcerting. All right, guys, thank you for everything. You have a good day. Bye.